Hello and welcome back to Mando-Bros, or welcome for the first time.
In today's episode, today's half battle report, I'll call it, we're going to do a how to play video for you. This is for the new people who are looking to get into the game, maybe some of the people who have only played a couple times and looking for a couple clarifications. We hope to bring you as much information as possible and as up to date as it can be. To begin, we're going to be building our strike teams. We're using the core set. So Delta, the strike team I built, which is the core set, I will start with Lord Maul, Gar Saxon, and then the Mandalorian Super Commandos, as well as Asajj Ventress, Kalani, and the B1 battle droids.
And then Tal will use the other side of the core set. I'll get Anakin with Rex and the 501st, and then Ahsoka, Bo-Katan, and her Mandalorian crew.
In the way squad building works, you look on the different unit cards, and there is a different points value with each of the units. You'll see a squad point value, and then you'll see another point value. Your squad point value tells you how many points you have to build the squad. For instance, if we look on Lord Maul, his squad points are in the top left-hand corner. You'll see 8 squad points. On the right-hand side, you'll see a kind of a golden cross symbol, which is his force points value. He brings 3 force points. His 8 squad points dictates that he can build with points from different units, with your secondaries and your supports. The 4 PC is the point cost, so he has 4 points out of Maul's 8 points, since Maul is the chosen primary unit. He brings 0 force to it. And if you look at the bottom of each of these, including the support characters, you'll see their name, Lord Maul. You'll see below that, Maul, primary unit. So he is a primary unit, he leads that squad. And you'll see one little person icon. That means there is one person in this unit. One figure, one mini. A lot of the support units have 2, so you'll see 2 of those little icons. Next, we'll go into the different eras. If you look at the top left-hand corner, you'll see the Galactic Republic symbol, and each of these are kind of different. Some of them are 2 symbols in one. And there's a comprehensive thing online that tells you what each faction is, which era they can be in. When you're building a squad, your squad, such as Lord Maul's squad, can only be from the faction or era that he's from, which is the Fall of the Jedi or Clone Wars, as denoted by the symbol in the top left-hand corner. Some other ones that you might see are Reign of the Empire, which is the Galactic Civil War, the Age of the Rebellion, which is a post-Empire, and the New Republic, which is kind of like the sequels. And you'll see different symbols of the different factions/eras in that top left-hand corner.
Right now we're just working with Clone Wars and Galactic Civil War so far.
Correct. Next, we'll move on to the different types of cards, so you know what you're building your squad with, different things that they may bring to your game, and how they interact with one another. So the different types of cards we have unit cards, which are double-sided cards. Shows on one side your points costs, your squad points that you have, your force points, how many characters are in that unit. And they're the larger cards. I believe it's 4x6. On the opposite side is all the different abilities. You'll see different kinds of icons and symbols, such as there are tactic abilities, there are active abilities, reactive abilities, innate abilities, and identity abilities. So far, only primaries have identity abilities. Everybody else, it's mix and match with everybody. And we'll get more in depth with that here as we move on further. At the bottom of these cards, you'll see the different tags that these have, which may refer to different synergies from certain other units, such as Kalani likes droids at the bottom of that. Or Mother Talzin, which is a newer unit, she likes Dathomirians at the bottom tag. Or maybe a bounty hunter, separatists, Galactic Republic. On the bottom right-hand side, you see the durability and the stamina. Stamina is the bigger number with the kind of healing cross sort of thing. And Gar Saxon, for instance, has 9 points. The stamina, which is a kind of a heartbeat in blue, is 2 for him, which means after he hits that 9 damage threshold, he gets what's called a wound token, and we'll go more in depth with that, but he can be wounded twice before he is defeated and taken off the table. Next, we'll go to choosing first player and sides.
All right, to decide first player, you roll 5 attack dice,
which are D8s.
We'll just go ahead and roll, and then we'll explain. So I got a crit, 2 hits, 2 fails.
And I got 1 crit, 2 hits, 2 expertise.
So you go off of the most crits. Since we're tied on that, then you go for hits. We're tied on that as well. Then I think you move on to expertise, right?
Yep.
So I have no expertise, but I have 2 fails. He has 2. So Delta would be the first player.
In any case that we would tie for expertise once again, we go again until the tie is broken. So whoever has the most crits, hits, expertise, and so on and so forth. Now with myself, since I got first player, I get to choose which side of the battlefield I would like to deploy on. And we'll bring that up here. I like to choose my side, which is the red side. Now for setting up the mission, you have 3 different stacks of mission cards or struggle cards. We chose shifting priorities because that's what comes with the core set. Makes it easy. Buy it out of the box, play it out of the box. When setting up that one, shifting priorities, you'll see that there are 2 different kinds of measurements, 4s and 5s on this diagram. What does it mean by that? Starting from the edge of the battlefield, which is just right down here, you'll measure 4 from the edge of the battlefield until the objective is centered inside the range ruler, which is the 4. A little 4 at the bottom. Then they are 5 away from each other, where it's centered. And that goes around all of the battlefield. We've done all this already, so you don't have to watch us do it and get bored by that. From there, you flip your first struggle, which is locate the asset. Starting with the priority player, the primary player, which is myself, first player.
Player 1.
I will flip all of these to the yellow side in the same orientation that is set. So it'll be all these in a sort of lightning bolt shape, I would say. Next, we'll talk about creating the battlefield using the different terrain out of the core sets. You assemble and paint this stuff. It's played on a 36-inch by 36-inch playing field, so 3 foot by 3 foot. Controlling these objectives, one way to do it is by using the different control tokens. You can see by that, there's a blue, there's a red. If red player controls it, it's red, blue player, blue. Easy enough, simple. And we'll get more into that. We'll do a sample game here at the end of explaining these rules for you. Next, we're going to move on to deployment and your order deck and force pools. When deploying, every primary character gets deployed range 2, which is this little one with the 2. I apologize for that. From the edge of the battlefield, and it has to be on your edge that is parallel to you. You can't go on these opposite ends and try to get something sneaky in there. So you start by lining it up, the edge of the battlefield, deploying your primary character in base contact, and from there you deploy the rest of your unit, your squad. You go range 1, which is at this edge. There's also a shove tool and stuff that's range 1. All of these different range tools are range 1 right here. You go range 1 from your primary. Same thing with these guys. They go range 1 from their primary. Oops. Next, we're going to get into a couple of gaming examples. We're going to start by beginning the first turn of the game, and then Tal will take a turn, and we'll get some excitement going so you guys aren't getting bored to death here. For my first activation, I went ahead and shuffled my order deck. I'll quickly show you too, to create your order deck, you have all of your different part cards that have all of your different units on them. Plus your Shatterpoint card. Go ahead and reshuffle that real quick. And we'll reveal our top card, which is Kalani. As you can see on Kalani's card, there's a tactic ability symbol, so that's a reminder to tell you that he has a tactic ability at the beginning of his turn. Let's take Kalani's turn and see what happens. With Kalani's tactical ability, Roger Roger, at the start of his activation, each allied battle droid supporting character within 4 of a chosen character, 4 of this character, may dash. What it means by the battle droid supporting characters is at the bottom with all those tags we talked about earlier. In my unit, the B1 battle droids have battle droid at the bottom. That means they are legal targets for this ability. They are also within range 4 of Kalani, so they will dash. Using the dash tool, one unit will go this way, and the other unit will go this way. During a character's turn, they have 2 actions that they can do. The different actions they can do are they can advance, they can move, they can make a focus, they can make a combat, they can take cover, or they can do a recover action. They can also use any of their active abilities on their turn by spending the appropriate cost and doing the appropriate action. With Kalani, we're going to go ahead and take a move action. Using the curved end, pivoting. He's going to go to the end of that, or anywhere along there that we decide. I'm going to put it at the edge of his base. Curve it enough to where he gets right over here. Hopefully within range of this objective up here. If not, that's okay. Next, we will spend a force for Tactical Network. We're going to choose another allied battle droid character within 4. I'm going to check for range. They may dash, and they may gain a Hunker token, remove 1 condition from itself, or make a 5-dice attack. I think in this instance, they don't have any conditions, and it's the first turn of the game, so nobody's going to be around them to be able to make an attack. They can go ahead and take a Hunker token. This one, they're going to make a dash, and they'll gain a Hunker token. And we'll get into the specifics of what Hunker tokens and stuff do here in just a minute. Alright, next for Kalani's final action, he's going to take cover. We're going to use the range 1 end of any of these appropriate tools. And we're going to move closer to that objective and knock some terrain over. We're going to check range at the end of Kalani's turn here to see if he's within range 2 of that objective token. If he is, we gain control of it. If he's not, we don't gain control of it. Right now, elevation, since we are the closest, we get it. If somebody else was at the higher elevation, they would get it because they are closer to the actual objective. It appears that Kalani is within 2.
You're directly underneath it.
So,
you got it.
Therefore, we gain control of that. We put a controlling objective token on the red side since we are the red player, and we move on to the scoring at the end of the turn. When setting the game up, you also have to do what's called struggle tracker. This determines how you win a struggle and eventually how you win the game. The way it begins is you have the struggle tracker, which has a 0, 1, 2, and then all the way to 8 from each side. You take the clear game token, the cube, the D6, you set it on the 0. And each player gets 1 of the black cubes for a momentum token.
Yeah, each player gets 1 at the 8 position.
Yep. At the end of each turn, with the exception of the first turn of the game, the very initial turn, you determine how many of the objectives you control and move the struggle tracker, the clear token, that many spaces toward your side of the struggle tracker. Since this was the first turn of the game, I control 2 objectives, but I do not move it since it is the first turn of the game, so it remains in the 0 position.
And I would control this one over here with the 501st, but it wasn't my turn, so I don't score.
Next, we're going to take an example of the opposing player's turn. See what happens.
All right, so now it's my turn. So I'll draw my first card, and I'll get Anakin Skywalker. All right, since I got Anakin, we're going to want to go ahead and take this objective away from the droids. So on his turn, you can do a movement, like I'll do an advance. So I'll advance to here, and then on his card, he has force jump for a force point. So we'll go ahead and spend a force to force jump. We're going to force jump to here, doing a movement within 1 of an ingress point or a ladder. So we get a free climb within 1 of that ingress point. And that will get us within range of that objective. And then he still has 1 more action, so he'll take cover. But you can move 1. I think we'll just move a little bit closer. He'll get a hunker, and then I would flip this to blue. I took that over.
One little note that you might be wondering, well, how did he do 3 different things there? How did he move, jump, and take cover? Your typical actions, unless your active ability says so. Your active ability is kind of a free ability with the cost of force point or points. With that, it doesn't require an action according to the rules until something future comes out that says it requires a full action. So for now, it's sort of a free action.
So at the end of Anakin's turn, then you'll go to the struggle tracker, and this is my side here. So we control 2 objectives now. So I would move it 2 spots to my side, getting closer to winning the game.
And we'll get into that here in just a moment.
Or winning the struggle.
We've been playing the game for a little while now, and in order for me to take this point and possibly win the struggle, I need to wound these Mandalorians right here with Maul. Can Maul do it? Let's see. He's going to take a combat action, and we're going to get into the specifics of combat, attacking and defending.
Well, so since I have 2 characters within this objective, he needs to push one of them. Well, yeah, you'd have to wound him or get both of them out of there for him to take control of it.
Correct. Let's get into a combat example. Since Maul is a primary character, his combat card has 2 different sides to it, you may have noticed. One side is Sinister Cunning, the other side is Dark Rage. At the beginning of the game, I choose which side they want to start on. During their turn and their turn only, they may choose once per that turn to flip the card to the other side. He is currently on his Sinister Cunning side. I think we need to try to get more damage through, so we're going to go to the Dark Rage side. On his Dark Rage side, and on all of these combat cards, you will see a little blaster symbol and 2 lightsaber symbols. The blaster is arranged, denoted below that by either a dash or a number that tells you what range their weapons are. Below each of those, you will see a little triangle number, which tells you how many attack dice they get, and a square number, which tells you how many defense dice they get against that sort of attack. With Maul, he gets 7 attack dice for his melee, whereas the Mandalorians
We get 4 defense dice for melee.
So let's hope we can get some of this damage through and wound them or get rid of them, something like that. We'll go ahead and roll. First, I like to take out all of the fails, which was 4 of them.
Yeah, 3 crits.
And now we have 3 crits to go with.
And I have 4 defense dice. I like to roll fails as well. 2 fails, a block, and an expertise. Oh, good.
In this game, you'll see different sides of different dice, whether they're the fails, a hit, or a crit. You'll also see an expertise, a block or a fail, and a block. When you roll the expertise, you get a look at your expertise chart according to whichever symbol you rolled and get the appropriate result.
So on the bottom right of the Mandalorian's card has their defense dice, their expertise defense. So I have 1, so I got 1 block.
I have no expertise. Otherwise, I would have exchanged mine in for hopefully something good. However, I have 3 crits. In this game, criticals cannot be blocked. They can be changed, but they cannot be blocked. So his 2 blocks are useless.
They do nothing. So he would get 3 spots on his combat tree.
So if we go on my combat tree, starting on the orange block, we get 2 hits or 2 damage. We can go up or we can go straight across. If we look straight across and we have 3, there's a shove in there. I don't think we need that. We only need to get 4 damage on them, so we're going to go above. We're going to start with 2 damage from the orange, 2 damage on the above block, and going right from that, we're going to give them a strained and a damage. So a total of 5 damage, which would wound them. And then I will now control that point because wounded characters cannot control points. At the end of Maul's turn, as you can see, we're on the 2 position on my side. I have 3 momentum, he has 3 momentum. If we can get it all the way to one of these blocks, we win the game.
Struggle.
Since we wounded the Mandalorians, we gain a momentum, and now we have 3 points. 1, 2, 3. So we move it 3 to our side. 1, 2, 3. It'll put it right here or fall over, and we will win the struggle. Move on to struggle 2. Along with that, there are 4 different condition tokens that your characters may get throughout the game. One of them is a strained, one of them is a disarmed, an exposed, or a pinned. The strained has the 2 red droplets of water. The disarmed has the broken blaster. The exposed has an exclamation point, and the pinned has the broken arrow. Tal, would you like to explain what each of these do?
Sure. So the strained, when a character in that unit advances, climbs, dashes, jumps, or when the unit makes an action or uses an active or a reactive ability, the effect is resolved. So then that unit would suffer 3 damage for having the strained, then they would take the strained off. For the disarmed, when you're attacking, if you have a disarmed on there, you cannot use expertise rolls. So you roll an expertise, it counts as a fail. Exposed is just the same thing, but it's for defense. If you're rolling defensive dice, you roll an expertise, that counts as a fail. Once you roll that with a disarmed or an exposed, and then you remove those tokens and they go away. The pinned, the next time a character in this unit would advance, dash, climb, or jump, it does not move. Then you get to lose the pinned, and then you can do whatever you want from there.
Some other things you might see on the combat trees are, like we showed with Maul, the damage icon. There's also a shove icon. There are advances, climbs, dashes, jumps, repositions, heals, and the option to use an active ability. If you're on a combat tree, such as Kalani, and you get it enough to your active ability, you get enough, successes through. If you have not used that active ability already, you can use it. If you have used it, you cannot use it during your combat tree, and you just skip it. With Maul, or many other characters, we'll use Maul as an example. He can, on his combat tree, he can shove them 1 away from where they currently are. Tal, would you give us an example of how that works?
Sure. So you'll get your advance tool, and you have this V. Put it right in the front. You can shove them anywhere inside that V. So if you want them to go this way, they're still inside that V, you shove them, and we'll knock that one over. He's dead now. Then you can follow along with that shove inside that V. So if Maul wants to go towards, he can. He went with.
Could you also give us an example of, say, what a reactive ability would be? Let's move to the clones. They're good at that.
Okay, we're going to give an example of a reactive ability. So we'll say it was Anakin's turn. He came up here to do melee with Ventress. The 501st have a reactive ability. They're within range 5 of Ventress. so they can coordinate fire, and they're going to go ahead and give her a strained before the combat takes place.
Some units can give other things away, such as damage, exposed, disarms, any of those different conditions that you can get.
So we're going to give an example of the supporting units that have two different characters in the unit. So they can move independently, and they can also shoot independently. They have to do it at the same time. But they don't have to stick together. They don't have to shoot or attack the same unit or same character. So, for example, with the Clan Kreese Mandalorians, we're just going to do it like an advance. We're going to move this one there, try to break stuff. We'll move this one here. So this one is in range 4 of Gar Saxon. This one is in range 4 of Ventress. So they're going to go ahead and attack at the same time, but they're going to attack two different characters, two different units.
Let's do a quick dice rolling example of how that would work.
All right, so with them, we'll go ahead and do the one that's shooting at Gar first. So he gets 6 dice. So we got 3 fails and 3 hits. It's just like I'm playing a normal game.
Gar gets 4 dice. I get 1 fail, 2 blocks, 1 expertise. Since he has no expertise, he doesn't convert anything. Since I have expertise, I look at my chart, and I get 2 blocks for that 1 expertise.
So he's going to go ahead and block all 3 of mine out.
And none will go through on the tree.
So then we'll go ahead and do the next one on Ventress. One crit, 1 fail, 1 hit, 3 expertise.
Now, same thing with Ventress. She has 2 different sides because she's a primary character. I kept her on her Jar-Kai side, so she gets 5 dice to block with. I get 4 blocks and 1 expertise.
3 expertise on their range side is a crit and a hit. So you would change one of these to a crit, 1 to a hit, take the other one away.
And Ventress, on the other hand, gets 1 block, and she changes one of their crits to a hit.
So one of these will drop down to a hit.
And now I can block 3 of those out, giving them only 1 on the tree to go through.
So with the Mandalorians, they have a top and a bottom to start, so you can choose. So do I want to shove her and give her a damage on the bottom side, or do I want to do the top side, do a pinned and a damage? So you just have to decide what's best for you.
At the beginning of Gar Saxon's turn, we're going to use him as an example to give a focus and an attack. He has a range of 5, so he gets to see if they're within range. They are. Let's go ahead and shoot them. He has a special thing going on with an innate ability. Let's see what that does. With Gar Saxon, he has an innate ability. It's kind of a static ability that's always there, doesn't cost anything. He has, I've got you in my sights. Characters in this unit have sharpshooter too. When a character in this unit makes a ranged attack, the target does not benefit from cover. After this unit makes a focus action, it gains a Hunker token. Since he took a focus, he gains a Hunker. With that focus, he gains 1 additional attack dice. With Sharpshooter 2, he gains 2 more additional attack dice for a total of 3 more. He normally gets 6, so we get the 1 from the focus, the 2 from the Sharpshooter, so he gets a total of 9 dice to attack with.
Cheater.
If they had any Hunker tokens, they would not gain any cover. Let's roll. 2 fails, 5 hits, 2 expertise.
Clan Kreese Mandalorians get 5 for ranged. 2 fails, 2 blocks, and an expertise.
I would get 1 crit and 1 shove.
On my expertise, I get 1 block.
All right, sounds great.
So you take 3 of these away for the 3 blocks, and he'll get 3 on the tree with the shove on the expertise, and you do that last.
You do that after you do all of your combat tree options.
Yep. So we'll go over Hunkers. So since he just got a Hunker, we'll say that he has this Hunker token, and the Clan Kreese Mandalorian wants to shoot on him. Well, he'll get his normal defense dice, plus he'll get 1 extra from the Hunker, and then he's on terrain, which gives him another dice. So he'll get 2 extra defense dice when he gets attacked there.
But only by ranged attacks. If a character is within melee range, which is range 2, and on the same terrain or elevation as the defending character or the attacking character, they are within engagement range. So they must use melee attacks. And they lose the Hunker tokens, anybody that has them. Hunker tokens also get lost at the beginning of turns. So when you activate a character who has already had a Hunker token, they lose it. Now, there are some other effects in the game that may allow you to keep Hunker tokens or use Hunker tokens for certain things, but we're not going to go over that in this video. That's for a later video. Here's an interesting question for you, Tal. We're at the end of all of our activations out of the order pool, and I have no more force left. What happens?
Reshuffle your cards, and then you get your force back.
How does that work? How do I get my force back? Do I just say I have it back, or do I just flip the tokens over?
Flip the tokens back over to the light side.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Then you'll have your tokens back.
Now I know.
You do that at the end of your last card's turn. You'll go ahead and reshuffle and then get your force back. All right, for this example, the 501st, we're just walking along and happen to run right into Maul. He's go ahead and attack him, which they only need a couple more to wound, which they've already been wounded once. So we'll say he went ahead and rolled and he wounded them for a second time. Now they've met their threshold of 2. So then they'll get one more activation. They'll activate one more time. They'll get a whole turn. And then once their turn is over, then they're removed from the board.
Permanently. They don't come back ever. They're not Palpatine.
That doesn't, yeah.
They don't somehow return.
Somehow the 501st has returned.
Hey, Tal, can you explain to me how we win the game?
The first player to win 2 struggles wins the game. Whether it's the first 2 struggles or if you take it all the way to 3 struggles.
That makes sense. Glad I could win.
Yeah, I'm glad you win every time. That's going to be it for this how-to video. We didn't want to get too in-depth on everything. There's a lot you can go over. We just want to try to keep it simple, explain a few things. Hopefully you liked it. You know, just something to try to help people out.
If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to comment on this video. Let us know. Even if, you know, there's something that's not clear to you guys, you can also refer to some of our older videos. We try to explain as much as we can in all of our videos. If there's anything we missed, feel free to ask and we'll update you on it.
Yeah, if there's things we didn't go over, you know, like protection, steadfast, stuff like that, our other videos has plenty of scenarios in that. You go watch those, you'll see what they do. So
thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, anything you guys do. Without you, we wouldn't be anywhere.
This is the way.
This is the way.